I'm going to discuss exercises related to the lesson arrays. In order to follow this set of exercises, you should have learned lesson 1 to lesson 7 along with the exercises. Okay, so now let's look at the problem number 1. It says part A, start a new Visual Basic Windows Forms application project. Now I have already opened Visual Studio IDE. There we have to go to File, New, Project. Okay, then it takes some time and new project window appears. Here you have to select Visual Basic and here you have to select Windows Forms application, and from here you can select where you are going to save your project. I have already created a folder on the desktop with name VB. Okay, inside that folder I am going to save the project. Now let's give the name project 1 and we can press OK button. It takes some time to generate the project. Now you can see the empty form here. Second part, part B, add a button to the form and program it according to the steps given below. Now you have to add a button. Okay, so in order to program it, we double click on the button. Declare an integer array that can hold 6 values. Okay, that means dim, let's give the name nums. Okay, so if you want to store 6 different values, that means maximum index is 5 as integer. Store values, this set of values in the array. Okay, now this is the element with 0th index. There you store 34, then 73, 92, 21, 54, 5, and here 17, and likewise. Now you can see this is the declaration of an integer array that can hold 6 elements. Okay, so this is the initialization of the array. Now it says use a loop to display each value in the array using message boxes. Let's use a for loop. Okay, before that let's declare an integer I, and here we use a for loop. For I goes from 0 to 5, here you can put I, okay, and now here message box dot show nums I. Now let's see. Now let's run and see. Now once you have pressed the button, 34, 73, 92, 21, 54, 17, that's all, okay. Now let's see the other part. Try to display the value in the array with index equals to 6, okay. So let's delete this part, and we are going to display this one, okay. We know that we can store, or let's before that let's delete this one because it is not necessary now. So now if you know that here maximum index is 5, we have tried to display this value, then let's see what happens. Okay, no problem occurred still. Now if you press this one, what happens? Okay, it gives an error, index out of range exception was unhandled, and it gives some tips, okay. And the reason is, in our array we have only 6 elements. Now we have tried to display 7th element, that is an error, okay. That is the problem, and that is the thing I wanted to explain you using this problem, okay. And that is the end of our problem number 1. Now let's go to the next problem, problem number 2. Start a new Visual Basic Windows Forms application project. Now you have to go to File, New Project as usual, then here, and here we use the same folder, and here project number 2, and we press OK button, and now you can see the empty form. Add the list box and a text box to the form. Add a button to the form and program it according to the steps given below. You have to add the button as well and program it. So you can double click on the button. Declare an integer array that can hold 100 values. Okay. Therefore, dim, let's give the name arr. Here you have to put the maximum index, that is 99, as integer. The user is expected to put an integer into the text box. Therefore, let's give a name to that integer. Dim is start as integer. You can give any name. Here I have used the name is start. Okay, when you read the problem further, you will understand the reason. Okay, any name you can give here. Okay, now let's look at the next one. The 100 integers generated by starting from the specified integer of the user and adding one by one to it should be stored in the array. And now you have to generate 100 values. Okay, so therefore I will declare an integer in order to use this in our loop. Okay, then we use a for loop. I goes from 0 to 99. To our array elements here. Before that, let's see the 100 integers generated by starting from the specified integer of the user. That means the user is expected to put an integer into the text box. Okay, therefore you have to read the value of a start variable from the text box. Okay, and the text box, this part, it returns the content of the text box, that is a text. So you have to use val method to convert it to the corresponding number. Okay, and now here what you can do is you start and plus I. Okay, in that way we start from a particular integer and add 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 99. Okay, and likewise we calculate the values of the elements of this array. Now we have to do something. Okay, so let's look at the next part. Each value of the array should be displayed in the list box. Now let's use a for loop. I goes from 0 to 99. List box 1 dot items, and we add the elements of our array one by one. Okay, here it's better you can put I. Okay, now let's see. If we want to start from some number 78, it begins with 78, then 79, so 80, likewise it goes up to this. Okay, now there you can see 100 integers. Okay, now if you put something here, let's say something like this, you can see the new numbers append to the existing list. Okay, if you look at the beginning of our new numbers, there you can see the new list of numbers has been appended to the existing list. But let's say if when we include the number here, we want to clear the old content from the list box, then how can you do that? It's very simple. Here what you have to do is list box 1 dot items clear. Okay, that means the items of the list box will be cleared using this line. Okay, so now let's see. If we add some number, you can see the first 100 numbers beginning from 385. If you include another number, you can see now the earlier set of integers has been removed from the list box. Okay, that was done using this line of code. Okay, that is the end of uh, the question number 2. Okay, so I close the solution, and now let's look at the third problem. Start a new Visual Basic Windows Forms application project. We go to File, New, Project, then New Project window appears. Here Visual Basic, here Windows Forms application. We are going to save in the same folder. Now here let's say project. Okay, declare a global string array that can hold 100 values. Okay, then before we come to this part, let's move to the next part. Add a text box with name text box 1 and a button with name button 1 to the form. we have to add a text box button. Now these are the default names. If you look at the name property, text box 1. If you look at the name property of the button, button 1. Okay, those are the default names. The text inside the text box 1 is set as a value of the array by clicking the button 1. Now in order to program this button, we have to double click it. Okay, now whatever the code you write here will be executed when the button is clicked. And now let's look at the part B. Declare a global string array that can hold 100 values. So global means we should do the declaration outside of other subroutines. Subroutines means these ones. Okay, these are subroutines. So here um, okay, now we declare, let's give the name txt that can hold 100 values. Therefore here you have to put 99 as a string, and we need another integer variable. Let's initialize it to 0. Now when we click the button, what should happen? Txt n. So to that one we add the content in the text box, and after that you put this one, then we can clear the content of the text box. What happens here is, I will explain again. Here we declare a string array. This is the maximum index. That means we can we can put 100 values in this string array. Here we have declared an integer and initialized it to 0. Now this is the code relevant to button 1, and now what we do here is, here n is initially 0, and in the content of the text box we assign to this one. After that we increment n by 1 and then clear the content of the text box. Okay, We have done this part. Part D, the text inside the text box 1 is set as a value of the array by clicking the button 1. Okay, that's what we have done here. Okay, now let's look at the next part. The text inside the text box 1 should be cleared at each click of the button 1. That's what we do using this line of code. Okay, add another text box with name text box 2 and another button with name button 2 to the form. Another text box and a button. This one, now if you look at this, its default name is textbox 2 and default name of the button is button 2. Therefore, we do not have to change the names of them according to this document. Okay, and the text derived by concatenating each text in the array delimited by space should be displayed in the text box 2 by clicking the button 2. Now in order to do that, we double click on button 2 and now you can see there are two subroutines. We have declared this variable outside of these two subroutines. That means inside this subroutine we can access this variable, and also inside this subroutine also we can access this variable. Okay, that is the meaning. That is why we say this is a global array. Okay, that is a global variable. Okay, so here you have to do like this. As a string we initialize it to an empty string and we need an integer variable. Let's use a for loop. I goes from 0 to n. To s, we append the content of the array plus space character, and here you can put I. That is optional. Putting I here is optional. And after that, to the text box 2 we can put the value in the variable s. Now you can see here we initialize a string variable to an empty string, and we need an integer variable as well. We use a for loop. There at each iteration we append each value to the variable s along with the space. Okay, therefore we can concatenate each of the string in the array and form a complete string. We have stored it in variable s, and now we can put the value in s variable to text box 2 in this way. Okay, so now let's see. We press the button. Now text box get cleared. We press the button again, text box uh, gets cleared. Then we can click this. Okay, now you can see each string ends with the space. Okay, the reason is here, this one. That is the end of our problem number 3. Let's close the project and then move to the next problem, problem number 4. Now here also part A says start a new Visual Basic Windows Forms application project. File, new, project, here Visual Basic, here here Windows Forms application. Now here you can put project 4 and we use the same folder. Add the text box, a button and a list box to the form. We have to add the text box, then a list box, then a button. Program the button according to the steps given below. Declare an integer array without specifying the maximum index. So that means we can declare it in this way. We do not specify the maximum index. Here we keep it empty. The number of values in the array is taken through the text box. Okay, so let's declare an integer to store number of values in the array, and to this n variable from the text box you have to take the input. The number of values in the array is taken through the text box. After we have taken this, we can use redeem keyword and put n minus 1, because here we have to specify the maximum index. Therefore, it should be n minus 1. A random number between 0 and 100 should be set as each value of the array. In order to do that, let's use a for loop. Therefore, we need an integer for I goes from 0 to n minus 1. To each array element, we use RND method and multiply it from 100. So you have to Google and find the meaning of RND method. It generates a number between 0 and 1, a fractional number. So we have to multiply it from 100 to generate numbers between 0 and 100. Each value of the array should be displayed in the list box. Okay, as in previous problem, before everything, it's better we clear the content of the text box. After that, we use a for loop I equals 0 to n minus 1 list box 1 dot items dot add. Now let's see. So here you can put 5, then 5 random numbers between 0 and 100 will be generated. If you put 50 random numbers between 0 to 100 are generated. Okay, so that is the end of our problem number 4. So I close the solution. Now let's look at the question number 5. Start a new Visual Basic Windows Forms application project. Here you have to go to File, New, Project. We use the same folder. Here Visual Basic, here Windows Forms application, here project, file. And after that we can save. No, we can press the OK button. Add the button to the form and program it according to the steps given below. You can add the button. In order to program this, we can double click. Okay. Implement the two matrices given below using two arrays. Now we need two arrays, two dimensional arrays. Here let's see there are 4 rows and 3 columns. Therefore, mat1, let's give that name. Number of rows, it is 4. Therefore, 4 minus 1. Here you have to put 3 because this is the maximum index. Now there are 3 columns. 3 minus 1, 2 columns you have to put here, then as integer. The other array, there are 3 rows and 2 columns. Dim at 2. 3 rows are there, therefore 3 minus 1, 2. 2 columns are there, 2 minus 1, 1 as integer. Declare a suitable array to store the multiplication of the two matrices given above. Now, if you multiply these two matrices, in order to have the ability to get the ability to multiply these two numbers, okay, that means here if you look at here, this one, number of columns is in the first matrix should be equal to the number of number of rows in the next array, okay, next matrix, okay. So the resultant one, here you have 4 into 3, here 3 into 2, that means 4 into 2. The resultant matrix is 4 into 2. Therefore, 4 means the number of columns. Therefore, here we include the maximum index. 4 into 2 means now the number of row, not number of columns. So 2 minus 1, 1 as integer. Write the code segment to compute the multiplication of the matrices in the first two arrays and store the resultant matrix in the third array. Use a message box to display the values of the third array. Now let's see. This is the declaration of the matrices. These two matrices you can initialize mat 0, 0. That means here 0th row, 0th column, that is 5, okay. Six. Now this one, it says 0th row, first column. This is the 0th row and first column it is 6. Likewise you have to fill the rest 0, 2, 2, 0, 2, 2. Now let's see MAT1 1, 1, not first 1, 0, it is 3, 1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 4, 2, 2, 7, 3, 0, 5, 3, 1, 3, 3, 2, 6. Okay. Now again let's see whether it's accurate. Here you specify the row number. Row numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. For each row number, now if you look at this one, this is our 0th row. This one, okay. Then 0, 1, 2, 5, 6, 2. If you look at this one, this is our this row. Okay. So here first row, these are the column numbers 3, 4, 1. This one means this. As usual, you can see 0, 1, 2, 2, 4, 7. If you look at this one, it is this line. 5, 3, 6. Okay. Now you have to initialize this one. There also we write mat2 0, 0, 2, mat2 0, 1, 5, 1, 0, 4, 1, 1, 7, 2, 0, 6, 2, 1, 3. Now let's recheck the accuracy. Now here these two lines, this is the zeroth row. 0, 0 means this one, 2, 0, 1 means this one. Then here 1, 0th first, 4 and 7, these two numbers. Here these two numbers. Okay, so we have finished initialization. Now in order to perform matrix multiplication, we need 3 integers. So let's declare dim I comma j comma k as integer. Now we use nested for loops. Here 0 to 3, and it's better we put here I in order to distinguish. Okay, since we are using nested for loops. For j equals 0 to 1, initially mat3 I comma j we initialize to 0. Then mat3 I comma jth element, that is equal to In that way you can perform. So you have to first learn how to multiply two matrices, and then only you can understand this code. Okay, so here we have used two nested loops. Okay, in order to move cell by cell of the final answer, initially we put its value to 0, and after that using a for loop we multiply. So you have to study matrix multiplication first, okay, in order to understand this code. Now if you look at the last part, use a message box to display the values of the third array. Now let's see, I goes from 0 to 3. For j goes from 0 to 1. So in order to store it as a string, I need to declare a string dims as a string. Usually it's better we initialize all the strings to empty in this way, empty string. Okay, now let's see this one. To s we append mat 3 I comma j, then you have to convert it to string plus we put two spaces, and after this we can put this one. So once we have calculated, using a message box we can display. Now if you look at this, we access each row of the matrix using this one, each column using this one, and here we access a particular row. Okay, and after each row, displaying each row, here we include a semicolon. Okay, now let's see the answer. You can see the answer. The resultant matrix we decided earlier, we have we have 4 rows and 2 columns. Here you can see 1 2 3 4, 4 rows and 2 columns, only 2 columns. Okay, in that way we have finished problem number 4, and this is the end of this exercise. Thank you for listening.